If you are struggling with your money because of the rising cost of goods and services and the feeling that you cannot afford all the things that you do want to afford, then this video is one that you'll find to be very important. This is because I am going to share with you ideas of how you can be able to tackle inflation, or how you can be able to adjust and live in a better way as the prices of goods and services increase. When it comes to inflation, you can be able to respond to the rising cost of goods and services mainly in two ways. The first one is that you can complain about it. And this is allowed. It is okay to raise your voice and concerns to the policymakers so that then they can look at the rising cost of goods and services. One of the things that you'll find that they do quite a lot is either increasing or reducing the interest rate. That happens all the time. It's a monetary policy kind of an intervention. And you can talk to your government or leaders to be able to intervene and help you manage inflation. But that's an external issue. That may be something that is out of your control. So the second way in which you can respond to inflation is things that are internal, or things that you have total control over. And that is related to how you manage your money. So in this video, I am going to share with you 6 ideas that you can look into and probably try to customize to fit into your situation right now. Some may work, all of them may work for you, or maybe none will work for you. Whatever is the case, watch this video to the end and you'll find a great deal of value on some of the ideas that you are going to learn from here. The first idea is related to tracking your expenses. You need to sit down and figure out and understand where or how you are spending your money. Particular activity is very important because it is going to help you to identify and understand where you are spending your money and on what. This information is very critical because it will form the foundation of some of the decisions that you are going to make in the coming weeks or in the coming months if inflation persists or if the cost of goods and services continue to increase. The idea is related to budgeting. Budgeting is not a term that creates the excitement. That's because it can mean a lot of things to you, especially when it comes to issues related to, cutting back on some things. But budgeting is a tool that can be very helpful to you at this particular moment. But the way you are supposed to approach the budgeting process and the whole idea of knowing where your money is going is from a point of it being a guide. It is not trying to restrict you to do things. It's just ensuring that whatever it is that you want to do, you budget for it. I remember somebody who told me quite a while back that sometimes when we think of budgeting, we look at it negatively because we think it's going to stop us from enjoying life or getting everything that we want. Was not looking at a budget as a restrictive tool, but as something that basically guides him on how he is going to allocate his money to the things that he enjoys. So if you want a new pair of shoes, you just need to budget. If you want to go out several times a month, just budget for it. The idea is you should put allocation of money to everything that you want to spend money on in a particular month. And that's what creating a budget is going to do to you in this particular period of high inflation. As prices of goods and services that you buy each month go up, then you need to be able to create a budget that is adjusted to the current situation. Notice that the cost of electricity has gone high. This means that in your budget, you need to increase or adjust your budget and allocate more money to electricity. And I think this applies to all the line items. Food, transport, fuel, things have become more expensive. And therefore, you need to allocate more money to those budget items. And that's why budgeting becomes very critical. I'm one of those people who contribute money towards investment schemes or investment and saving schemes every month, then you may need to review. Your budget is stretched, or if things become a little bit thinner, you may not be able to meet your investment obligation every month. And that means that it is important that you look at those priorities and see whether you can still continue to make those investment contributions, or you need to adjust them downward to be able to accommodate the areas that may have been affected by inflation. So if your cost of living has gone high, then maybe you may reduce slightly your investment contribution each month and allocate that money or that reduction towards covering some of your expenses. You need to do this across all your monthly contributions. Reviewing your investment priorities does not mean that you are stopping them altogether. It's just an acknowledgement that under the current situation, things may need to be adjusted in one way or the other. That adjustment may help you to survive this particular period of high inflation. And when all is back to normal, then you can go back to contribute. The fourth idea is that you need to find ways to make extra money. You can be able to manage your budget by cutting expenses. It is also very important to look for ways in which you can increase your income. Cutting expenses is one of the fast and probably the easiest way to manage a situation like this one. But a better one, and probably that may have long-term benefits, is if you can find ways in which you can increase your income. Generating more money is not as easy as it sounds. Find ways to make extra money during this particular period. It will not only help you to solve or bridge the budget deficit that you may have, but it can also be something that you will continue to do long after this particular inflation is. Find ways to generate extra income during a time of crisis like this one. You may be in a better position when this is all over, because you will not only have what you are currently generating, you will have added yourself another source or another stream of income. You can start a side hustle, or you can get a second job, and if you don't have a job, you can look for one. But when it comes to job, I would be a little bit hesitant to say that you'll get one, because one of the consequences of having high inflation and the economy slowing down because of the increase in interest rates by most central banks, there is going to be a reduced economic growth. There is going to be a slowdown in the economy. And that means that businesses will not be eager to hire people. In fact, high inflation leads to very high unemployment. And you may have seen it. Companies are laying off people. That is a signal that maybe getting a job during this particular period may not be as easy as you might think. The fifth idea relates to your retirement. If you are working towards retirement, and actually I think you should be planning for it way in advance before you reach the age of retirement, you need to consider inflation. So as you make your retirement savings contribution, you should consider the current inflation rate, but also the projected inflation rate over the next coming years. That way you can be able to make proper planning so that you don't get to the age of retirement, or you don't get to your target when you want to retire and find that inflation has eaten up all your investment. That is something that you should consider now that we are having this particular inflation crisis. The sixth idea that you should consider is seeking financial advice. There are very many qualified people that you can go and talk to help you manage this crisis. Don't feel shy to talk to those people. This is because they can help you not only navigate through this particular crisis, but also make better and more informed investment decisions going forward. The whole idea of money and money management during a time of high inflation is very important, because if you do it well, then you'll avoid having a lot of financial stress that comes with the rising cost of goods and services. You'll be able to adjust your expenses, you'll be able probably to generate a little bit more income and still manage to cover the things that you need to cover. You do not want to be in a situation whereby you cannot be able to afford the basic things, because that will not only reduce the quality of your life, but it will leave you with a great deal of stress. In fact, if you would want to learn more about inflation, just click or tap on your screen right now and go and watch that video. My name is Gaku. Hit the like button, subscribe if you are not subscribed, and I'll see you in the next one.